Hemos sufrido una gran pérdida. Hace 20 días nuestro hermano, político romaní, patriota, gran hijo de la nación romaní, Marcel Courthiade, falleció. Es una tragedia enorme para todo el pueblo romaní en el mundo. Su trabajo como comisionado de la IRU sobre el idioma romaní, como catedrático, lingüista, historiador políglota, y su trabajo en el Instituto Internacional del Lenguaje Romaní en París, su investigación sobre la historia del pueblo romaní, durante muchos años contribuirá a que las organizaciones europeas y mundiales entiendan al pueblo romaní, sus tradiciones ancestrales, su historia y su lenguaje. Sus ideas y su trabajo permanecerán con nosotros durante muchos años en el futuro y nos ayudarán a reforzar nuestra nación. Muchos de sus planes, ideas e iniciativas se han quedado sin acabar, pero nos han dado un buen punto de partida, tal como las identificaciones romaníes, tender un puente entre la India y la nación romaní, el Banco Nacional Romaní, la Roma Expo y otras muchas que se han incluido en el IRU con sus memorándums y servirán de camino para guiarnos en el futuro. Marcel Courthiade siempre permanecerá en la historia del pueblo romaní, en nuestras mentes y nuestros corazones. Descanse en paz. We have sources. Here, for instance, we have a poet from Bulgaria, Victor Falgulson, one of the founders, together with our brother Juan de Dios of the Rroma Union, Alfredo David, poet and painter. We have many documents here. We have Turkish documents, in Ottoman Turkish documents. People, my mother-in-law, this small, humble Roma woman, but who had knowledge, the ancient knowledge, the traditional knowledge that we want from our aunts and uncles. Here, documents in Greek, Roma documents. We have all this. Why don't we have a continuation from knowledge to the lack of it? Because there's negation. And when there's negation, nothing exists. The great work done by Marcel Courthiade, who has recently left us, and it has been a great loss for us. I had the opportunity in recent years to get to know him, and he has given me much of his works and materials. And during this lockdown, I've had a lot of time to read it and to reflect on it. So much work Marcel did for us on our language and our culture. I hope that Marcel's work will be taken up by someone else, that the time will come when Marcel will also be remembered for all that he has given, which today might seem almost nothing to many. But Marcel has given us a world, he has given us a path to follow, and we would be unjust if we did not understand that this is the path to follow. I remember Marcel with great intensity. When I heard about his loss, I admit that the tears came spontaneously, because he was a person which I met only a few times, but those few times were of an intensity that really leaves a mark. And it is not by chance that today in Italy our organization is also working very hard for the linguistic recognition of the Roma minority. This is thanks to all the contribution that Marcel has made. It is not by chance that in 2019, for the first time in Italy, the region of Calabria recognized the Roma minority as ethno-linguistic minority. And this region has recognized as well two important dates. 2nd of August as the genocide of the Roma community by Nazism, on the 8th of April as an International Day of the Roma minority. These events, so important today, at least on Italian territory, as an example to be followed in the years to come, are to the credit of Marcel, to whom I owe a great debt of gratitude. He will always be alive and present in my heart. Thank you. We, we don't want separatism or exclusivity. What we want is convergence, no divergence, but convergence.
Naisarausa tumenge con dikela kachachipta, trao tumenge baxta shasimos, meka maute dautu madies palamogokak o Marcel Courthiade, kai gilotar pasaudel. Naisarausa les que sokerdiapiamende, sa, diabut zorka y amarishi humai, pale mardiapele gajensa, te aelame kodola bucha su karamenge kauten homano, pesaleriga. Mejana que bosas manus pachivalo, rom de sabaro, amengele romenge, pesalumia, isas bujanglo, nai sarao sales que so kerdiapiamende.
Hi, my name is Ana Dalila Gomez Baus. I want to talk about Uncle Marcel. I want to send my warmest regards to Aunt Jetta. I would like to talk about our uncle because he was a very important man for the Roma world. He was a wise man. He gave it all to us. He helped us with Sihomai, or Romani language. He was very important in Europe, in the world. He fought for the rights of Roma people. And I think that this recognition is really, really important because, Uncle Marcel, I love you very much. We love you very much. In America, you are well known and your legacy will bear very important fruits. Health and freedom for all the Roma people of the world, and this tribute to you, Uncle Marcel. Where can we find a better example of integration than the Roma integration? We maintain our identity and we are in harmony with the identity of the rest of the people. It's more important for me, an elder in its village, than the National Council with their statements. One of our elders knows better than all the councils in the world. Nothing has changed. Well, let's not exaggerate. Not much has changed. And just one economic crisis can make us lose all the progress that we have achieved during these years of hard work. We can lose it all overnight. Hemos recibido malas noticias sobre Marcel, estamos muy tristes y pensamos mucho en su familia. Desde luego son tiempos muy duros. Esperamos que juntos podamos continuar con su trabajo y mantener su legado vivo. Tenemos que tener esperanza y confianza en un lugar libre y compartido donde podamos trabajar juntos como iguales, como ciudadanos europeos. But guilt is not a dimension. It doesn't belong to history. It has to do with moral, not with science. And this history of the word Sigan, where does it come from? Sigan, Sigoinas, Sigan, Singenes, Singaro, Singonas, and all that. Well, good news is I'm not going to talk about it all. He says that Roma people are the tree of sins, the books of curses, and the locusts of Egypt. So many locusts gathered here today. It's an honor to have been invited to this tribute to Marcel Courthiade. I didn't have the chance to meet him personally, but I learned about his works, about everything he did, about his fight. And I know that he became in the best alive linguists until he died. I'm
tratando de
trying to get
ponerme en
in tune
sintonía
with
con el
Marcel's
pensamiento de
thoughts, and
Marcel.
I know he was a
Sé que era un
man
hombre
who had a
que
strong
tenía su
character.
carácter y que estaba muy
He was
preocupado
very worried
por el
about
destino
the
de la cultura
fate of
gitana
Roma
y
culture,
por el
and
desvío de
he was very
algunos
worried about some
intelectuales o
intellectuals,
gitanos
some Roma
que
people that were
pensaban
thinking
más
more
en el
about
bienestar
their individual
individual que
well-being than in
en
the
el problema
collective
colectivo que nos
issues we
acoge
have to
desde hace
face.
muchos años.
I want to tell
Quiero
you
contar
a
una
brief
breve
anecdote.
anécdota.
He
Él me
wrote to me
escribió
for the
por
first time
primera vez
ever
hace
15
15
days
días
ago. He asked me to
pidiéndome
cooperate
colaboración para
to
divulgar la
disseminate
literatura
Roma
gitana. Yo tengo
literature.
una
I
editorial
have
que se llama
a
Goria
printing
Stefanovsky
house
Editores
which is called
y
Cory
estoy tratando
Stefanovsky
de
Editores. I'm
publicar
trying to
autores
publish
gitanos de
the
diversas
works
partes
of
del
Roma
mundo
people from all over
aquí en
the world
América.
here in America.
El problema
The
que
issue
tenemos
we face, of
lógicamente es
course,
económico.
is
No
an
tenemos
economic
fondos para
one. We
esos
don't have the
libros.
funding to
Hay que
publish those
buscarlos,
books.
pero no
We
es
have to look for
imposible hallar
them.
esos fondos.
But it is not impossible to
Él
find them.
sabía de mi
He knew what
intención y
I
se
was doing,
comunicó
and
conmigo,
he got
lo
in
cual me
contact
sorprendió
with me,
muchísimo
and I was
y me
very
halagó muchísimo. Y
surprised, and
esperando
I
un
loved it.
segundo
And
mail
I was
a mi
waiting for
aceptación de
his
la
second
propuesta,
email,
me
and
entero del
then
deceso
I
de
knew
Marcel
about
y
his
quedé
death.
realmente muy conmovido
It
porque
was
tenía muchas ganas
awful. I was so
de
looking
iniciar ese
forward to
proyecto con él
begin working
y
with him,
espero
and I hope I
iniciarlo
will do
en
it
homenaje a
as a tribute
Marcel.
to him.
Debemos salir
We
del
have to
desconocimiento
leave the
de
lack
lo
of knowledge.
justamente salir de eso que
Absolutely.
se repite,
We
repite.
need knowledge not to
Y es
repeat
por eso que
ourselves, and
destacó
that's
la
why
reforma del
we have
bicentenario,
created the
días
Millennium
después de la salida
Platform, and this is
de India.
after the exodus from
No podemos más
India.
perder tiempo en
We cannot
controversias
waste any more
vacías.
time
Y
in
hay más
empty
que controversia a
discussions.
menudo, la
It is true
controversia
that quite
proviene de la
often
ignorancia,
controversy comes
pero
from
más a
ignorance,
menudo
but even
proviene
more
del rechazo
often it comes
y
from
duplicitad
rejection.
creencias,
There are
hablan de
beliefs. They talk about
creencias científicas,
beliefs,
como hay
scientific
creencias
beliefs,
jurídicas,
like
también hay
there are
creencias
legal beliefs. I will talk
numéricas
about legal beliefs
en el
on
tema de la
Wednesday
educación.
when we talk about
Hay
legal
personas que
matters.
creen lo que han
There are
oído,
people
lo que
that believe
están
what they
discutiendo
have
por
heard,
el
even if
derecho
it's not
humano.
scientific, just
Debemos
some
salir de eso.
facts. We have to avoid this.
Pongamos
Then
entonces una
let's
base
create a
común.
common foundation.
Hace poco
I
hice contacto
was
por
in
mail
contact
con Marcel Courthiade.
recently by email
Primero había hablado
with
con mi esposo,
Marcel
Jorge
Courthiade. He
Nedich,
had
y
first
luego
talked to
conmigo
my
sobre
husband
la
Jorge
literatura
Nedich and
romaní.
then with me
Así que
about
cuando
Roma
supe que nos
literature.
había
So
dejado,
as soon as I
en aquel
found
mismo
out that
momento
he had left
le hice un
us,
poema
I brought a poem from him
a Marcel
to
Courthiade.
Marcel Courthiade.
¿Qué ángel le marcó
What
el
angel
destino
marked
y
his
le hizo abrir
destiny
sus
and made
dulces
him
ojos
open his
por
sweet
primera
eyes for
vez
the
el 2
first
de
time on
agosto
the 2nd of
y tomar
August
su primer
and took
aire
his first
en el día
breath
en que
of the
miles de
day when
gitanos
thousands
callaron
of
sus
gypsies
voces para
had
siempre en
their
los
voices
campos,
silenced
como
forever in the
dicen nuestras
camps?
lenguas.
They fell silent.
Su último
His
suspiro,
last sight.
¿en qué lengua
In
habrá
what
sido?
language would it have
La de
been?
los
That of
ángeles
the
o
angels,
quizás
or
la del
perhaps
amor,
that of love?
la primera
The
que
first
habrá
language he
aprendido
must
seguro.
have learned for sure.
El amor le
Love
hacía
made
hablar
him
rápido,
speak fast,
tartamudear,
stammered,
chocarse
clash
con
with so
tantos
many
idiomas en sí,
languages to
para
end up
elegir vivir por
living
uno
just for
solo,
one,
como solo
as
lo
only
saben hacer los
passionate people know
apasionados.
how to do.
Lengua de
The Surni
Solymosi,
language,
lengua madre de
mother tongue
José,
Shushayi,
lengua de la nación
language of the
amada,
beloved
lengua de los
nation, language
Rromas,
of the
denominación
Rroma,
que al
a
revés
name which in
contiene la
Spanish
palabra amor.
contains the word love.
Entre
Among
verbos,
verbs,
vocativos,
vocatives,
infinitivos
non-existing
inexistentes,
infinitives,
dedicó
he
su alma
dedicated
rom
his
a
Roma
la lengua
soul to the
romani.
Roma language.
Él no la
He didn't
retuvo,
keep it
amó
to himself.
verdadero.
He was a
La
true
transcribió
love.
en
He
fonemas, la
transcribed it in
tradujo en
phonemes.
poemas,
He
la
translated
eternizó
into
en
poems. He
escritos, en
immortalized it
clases la
in writings.
compartió.
In
A los
classes he
Rromas,
shared it with
igual y
the Roma
mejor,
people.
haciéndole caso a la
In the
lengua,
way of
donde el
language,
verbo
where the
tener no
verb to
existe.
own doesn't
¿Qué ángel
exist.
del
What
destino
angel of
le habrá
destiny
tocado la
touched his
frente y le
forehead,
ha dado de
letting
beber
him drink
de la
from the
fuente del amor
fountain of
incondicional a
unconditional
un
love
pueblo,
for a
a una
people,
lengua
for a language,
que sin serlo se volvió
which
suya?
although it wasn't, became his
Naistuke,
own?
Marcel,
Naistuke
Jade
Marcel,
Velez.
Jade Velez.
Yo he
I've
visto que
seen
nosotros
that
podemos
we
mejor,
can, in a better way,
mejor que los
much better
viajeros,
than
hacer una
non-Roma,
historia de
to
Europa para
create
él.
the right
Porque no
history
tenemos
for
tierra.
Europe, because we don't own any land.
Nuestra tierra es todo
Our
el mundo,
land
todo
is
el
the
cosmos.
world, the cosmos,
Está bien la
internet.
El que tiene su
Those who have
tierra debe
land
defenderla
have to
y
fight
no
for it,
puede
and
ser
they
tan
cannot be
neutral
neutral as we
como
can.
nosotros.
The
héroe de
hero
aquí
today
era una
was an
asesina en una
assassin in a
opresión.
different version. But that's
Pero eso
normal
es normal. Es una
because it has to
especie
do
de
with
diversidad, porque la
diversity. Because
diversidad no es
diversity
una
is not a
situación
static
estática.
situation,
La diversidad es
diversity
una
is
dinámica.
dynamic.
Y
And
la
the
falta
lack of
de
land,
tierra es una
it
riqueza
means that we are
y es
rich,
una
that we are
libertad.
free,
Y
and
podemos
we
hacer
can
historia
create
como un
history
modelo
as a
para los
model
demás.
for ourselves.
Se nos ha ido Marcel
Marcel
Courthiade,
Courthiade has left
el
us.
impulsor
He was the
del romano
promoter
estándar
of the standard Roma
y el
language. He
director
was the director
de la única
of
cátedra del
the
mundo
only chair
en historia
in history
y
and
lengua
language
de la civilización
of Roma
romana,
civilization of the
desde la
world.
Sorbona
He was at the
en
Sorbonne,
París.
the university in Paris.
Tenía una mente
He was
privilegiada,
brilliant.
una capacidad de
He
trabajo
had a capacity for work
increíble,
which was
desmesurada,
endless,
y un corazón
and his heart was so
que no
big
le cogía en la
that
tabla del pecho.
he couldn't keep it
Pero
in
lo que más
his
me gustaba de
chest.
él
But what
eran
I
sus
like
bromas.
best about him was
Estar
his
con él
jokes.
dos o tres
Whenever I
días
spent with him 2 or
en un
3 days
seminario,
during a seminar,
no solo era aprender
well,
más que
first of all, I
un
was
año de
learning
máster,
more than taking a
sino
master
que era
course for a year. And then
llorar
it was
pero de la
laughing,
risa,
laughing so
de
much
verdad.
till
Y
tears.
sobre todo,
And above all,
si Carlos Muñoz
well,
intervenía
especially if Carlos
en esa
Muñoz was also
conversación.
participating in the
Marcel
conversation.
siempre ha sido el
Marcel
anfitrión
has
del
always
seminario.
been the host of our
Hablar
seminar.
del Seminario
To talk
Internacional Roma
of the Roma
era
International
hablar de
Seminar
Marcel
was
Courthiade.
to talk about Marcel Courthiade.
En los 10
During the
años
10
de
years we've
seminarios,
been celebrating this
jamás
seminar, he
pidió
never asked
una
to be
remuneración
paid
por
for his
asistir,
presentations
o bien como
as
ponente,
keynote speaker
o bien como
or for his
traductor.
translations.
Ahora, eso
But
sí,
he
me pidió
did
una
ask me one thing. He
que por
asked
favor
me
el
to
billete
get
de avión se lo
his
sacara
flight ticket
un
a couple
día
of
o dos
days
antes,
before the seminar,
porque a él
because
había
that
una
was
cosa que le
something he
encantaba,
used to love.
y era poder
And it was to
comer
go for
o
lunch
cenar
or
en
for
un
dinner
restaurante
to a
bueno.
walk restaurant.
Es que a él le
And
gustaba
he
mucho
loved
fallar.
to eat. And
Y él
he used to
decía
say
que,
that
que cuando
when he
él estaba
was in
en el
this
wok,
restaurant,
que se le
he
olvidaban todas
forgot
las penas
about
y se le olvidaban
everything
todos los problemas.
and he was
Como
not
bien he dicho
thinking
antes,
about
es
any
que es
issues
verdad
or problems. And as I
que le
said,
gustaba mucho la
he
gallineta.
really loved to eat.
Pero en lo
At
personal,
personal level,
hace,
I think
creo que
I
hace 30
had
años que lo
known him
conozco.
for more or less 30 years.
Para mí Marcel era
Marcel
un
was a
amigo,
friend to me,
un
my
mentor
mentor,
y un compañero.
a colleague.
Siempre dispuesto
He
a
was
entregarlo
always
todo,
ready
sin
to give
pedir
it
de
all,
verdad nunca nada a
asking for
cambio.
nothing in exchange.
Bien puedo decir estas
I
palabras
can
que
say
brotan
all of this about
de
him
la gratitud, desde lo más
from the
profundo de este
gratitude
corazón,
of the bottom of
que
my
aún
heart.
no ha
My
terminado
heart
de asimilar
has not understood
su
yet that
ausencia.
he is absent
Hasta siempre,
forever.
Caco
Caco
Marcel.
Marcel.
Hablamos de memoria.
We talk about memory.
Tenemos esta memoria
We have that
mencionada por Nedich.
internal memory mentioned before.
Pero es
We have
memoria
it,
interior.
but it's
Y para vivir
internal.
en una sociedad
And if we want to live
necesitamos
in
también
our
memoria
society,
exterior.
we also need the exterior
Y el tema de
memory.
mi ponencia será
The
de hablar
topic
de
of
las
my
vinculaciones
speech
entre
is
la
talking
memoria,
about relationship
la
between
historia,
memory,
la
history, methodology,
el trabajo académico
the
y
academia,
la publicación,
and
la
the
difusión
publishing, the
de esta
dissemination
memoria, la
of
difusión
this
o la non
memory,
difusión.
the
Y aquí
dissemination
entramos
or
en el tema de
non-dissemination.
negacionismo.
And here we begin to talk about
Y eso
denial.
es todo lo que
And
fue
this
dicho
is everything which was
en el
said
juicio de Nuremberg.
at the Nuremberg
Todo
trials.
eso es
All of
nada.
that you can see on the slide. Nothing.
No siquiera una palabra
Not even
sobre
one
eso en
word
el
about
gran
Roma
juicio
people
del
at
Gran
the
Tribunal de Nuremberg.
Nuremberg trials.
Nada de nada.
Nothing, nothing at all.
Pero no podemos creer
But we cannot
que los judíos
believe
no sabían.
that Jews didn't know about
¿Por qué?
us. Why?
Porque lo gitano no era
Because
nada
Roma
importante,
people
nada
meant
serio.
nothing for them,
Como lo ha dicho
nothing at
el
all.
histórico
As
polaco
the Polish historian
Sławomir Kabrowski,
says, Sławomir
el
Karpraszki,
90% del fundamentense
90% of
permanece
Samura
desconocido
Pen is
todavía.
still unknown.
Hasta ahora,
Till now,
como se sabe, las víctimas
as
tienen
you
por color
know,
el número
victims
marcado
had a tattooed
en el
with the
antebrazo, en el
number
fet
on the
de 50.
forearms. They had the number
Pero
tattooed.
100 veces más
But
pesada
it
que
is
los ataques, el
100
marco en el
times
corazón
more
del
painful
sensible.
the mark they
Nada.
had in their hearts,
¿Por qué
in
tan
their
horrible?
souls.
Porque
Why?
es una casualidad
Why
o
happened?
es otra cosa, un
Is
mecanismo.
it by
Y
chance?
eso
It is a
me
mechanism,
gustaría
and that's what we need to
discutir
know.
con vosotros.
That's what I want to
Tenemos
discuss with
que
you.
luchar
We
duro,
must
que no se
fight.
repita la historia.
We
Por supuesto, no en la
mustn't
forma
allow
de
for
Hitler,
history to
sino
repeat
tampoco en
itself,
cualquier otra forma
not
más
in any
poderosa
way
para